So first impressions, Brevell Dual Boiler coffee machine. I suppose you could say this is the fabled duo combination because it comes with the Dose Control Pro, or at least I paired them together for testing purposes. Don't really need another domestic machine. Got a commercial machine as well, but I was just impressed by the specifications on paper, and the reviews seem to be overwhelmingly positive. So I've been playing around with it for a day or so, and I have to say I'm quite impressed with the quality of the coffee that it produces, and also its programmability. So it's got plenty of presets to play around with. You can play around with pre-infusion times, manually ramp the pump pressure as you're extracting the shot. There's temperature control at the brew head as well to ensure temperature consistency, and you can adjust that the brew temperature based upon the coffee that you're using. More of an industrial steam wand. I do like the lever. It's definitely a step up from your average domestic machine. I suppose you would call this a prosumer machine in terms of its strengths and capabilities. What I really like about it is it's capable of producing cafe quality coffee, and I don't say that lightly. Most domestic machines, non-commercial that is, struggle to get close to cafe quality in terms of extraction quality and milk reproduction. The milk reproduction is a bit of a difficult beast to master initially. It's not as powerful as a commercial machine, but it's definitely a step up from the Breville say barista machine, for example. But it does have 3 holes, which means it distributes the steam evenly, and it seems to be more finer microfoam in terms of its texture, which I like as well. I did play around with some of the presets, so I've increased the brew pressure to temperature to 93 degrees based on the coffee that I'm using. I've increased the steam temperature to its maximum because I do find it's a bit wet on its own, and I want it to be a bit drier. As a more robust build and design, it definitely needs a bit of a preheat. I think anything less than 10 minutes and you're not going to get the temperature to the group head and through the handle as well. You want those to be nicely heated, and the steam temperature definitely improves from that preheat as well. Ideally 20 minutes, 10 will do the job. It's got a nifty feature in terms of timer settings. You can actually program it to come on at a allotted time, so I've just set it to come on at 7 a.m. in the morning. I'm yet to see how that functions because I've literally only had this machine a couple of days. It does come up to temperature quite quickly, but again, you want to leave it for a little bit before extracting your first coffee to allow the brew head to come up to temperature as well. Pressure dial actually ramps during the extraction, gives you a real-time view of a pump pressure extraction. So that can help you diagnose shot quality as well. I would say that being a bit more of a robust design, it's really getting the most out of your coffee, but that also means there's more variables that can go wrong. So you need to really keep an eye on dosage. So underdose, and you're going to get a bit of a, I wouldn't say watery coffee, but you're not going to be getting the most out of your coffee. So you definitely need to dose up a little bit, in my opinion. That's just my personal preference for drinking as well. So definitely don't underdose, and a firm tamp as well. You've got the pre-infusion. You can actually have some control over the pre-infusion by pressing and releasing the manual switch. I don't bother with the single double cups. That might be handy for some. I'd never use them. I do things by sight. I'm old school in that way, but definitely pre-infusion, you can, when you first press the button, if you press and hold and then release, that will cut the pre-infusion time. But there's nothing wrong with the presets in terms of how they work. I just don't like a long pre-infusion. So yes, when all the elements come together, you get a cafe quality coffee that I think is difficult to reproduce in most machines, sub $3,000 price range. This one comes in around $1,200. You can actually get it for $900 something. New, I bought one secondhand for about half that. Something to be aware of is that O-rings and seals. So if you read the reviews online, people say, oh, my steam wand stopped working and oh, they needed a service within the 12 months. Well, that's because you didn't maintain the machine, dummy. So you need to make sure the steam wand does retain a bit of milk after each extraction, after each use, so it's a good purge. If you were to just purge that into a milk jug after using it, you'd see that there's a reasonable amount of milk solids come out of there, so it needs a good purge. The basket itself that comes down with the machine, it's very fine holes. It's almost VST-like in terms of extraction, so it gets the maximum crema out of it. It's not a pressurized basket, although there is one of those as well. The basket that comes with the standard with the handle has got very minute. I don't know if you can see that exactly. Let's have a look. Very minute. I've just run a copy through here, and then but anyway, the holes are quite minute. There's definitely, it retains some grind and some oils. And the basket so needs a good wipe out, and the group head needs a good wipe after each use as well. And I would also recommend, this is what I've just done, which is why there's a bit of grind still in my basket. After every extraction, handle goes back in. I keep a cup on hand for underneath, and I just give it a good, run a bit of water through, give it a bit of a jiggle, and off. That's all you need. I mean, of course, that backwash on a regular basis is recommended as well, but for maintenance, ongoing maintenance, a good flush of the steam wand before and after each extraction, and of the group handle, I always give it a knockout, a wipe out, and then put it back in the machine and give it a bit of a run through it, a bit of a jiggle to clear those fine grinds. If you put a cup under there when you're doing that, you'll notice so that's post-extraction. So it does retain some fines, and you will see that the water in there is tainted as well. So you do need to give it a bit of a wash through after each use. Handy feature that I like is the top filling boiler. So the water catchment rather. I like that that's accessible. It's also backlit, which is pretty handy, so you can see exactly how much water you've got. Of course, you can pivot the machine on its side and pull out the water compartment and fill it manually, but why bother when it's just so readily available? That's such a great design. I'm not sure why other manufacturers haven't thought of that front fill as opposed to backlit. So you can see exactly how much water you've got. I'm quite impressed with the dials. I like that they're illuminated. If you're using the steam wand, the light comes on. Ditto when extracting, you can see it's illuminated as well. Anyway, in short, great machine, capable of producing very good quality coffee, better than what the average machine can produce. Many commentators online are saying superior to anything sub $3,000. I think that's a fair comment. You do need to monitor, dose, tamp and grind, and the machine needs to be well maintained and regularly maintained if you're going to get the most out of it. But so far so good. When it makes this good a coffee, why would you go out? Why? Because you still need to taste what other people are doing and be across industry standards and where we're at in terms of our coffee evolution. But for home machine, I think you're doing pretty good. That's my wrap. Like and subscribe if you like what you see.